Well, this is a big week for us in a lot of ways. We've got Auburn coming in here. They're doing exceptionally well this year. As many people know, Sunisa Lee, the reigning gold medalist in the Olympic all-around, is a freshman on their team. That's created a lot of buzz around them, but they're a complete team, top to bottom. They look good, and so we've got our work cut out for us. Came out of what was a solid road win. It's always good to go on the road in our conference and get a win. We realized we could have done a little more in terms of scoring than what we did, but under the circumstances, given the layoff, given the fact that it was our first road meet, looking back on it, watching the video and breaking it down, they were pretty much things that you would expect in a first competition. So not too disappointed. Certainly don't need to overreact to that, but we'll address those things as we get into the gym today and going forward. And it looks like it's going to be close to a sellout. If it's not a sellout, I was told there's about 12 or 1,300 seats left. So to me, the push is to make sure everybody that has a ticket puts somebody in that seat for us so that we have an amazing atmosphere on Saturday.
Coach, Sundy Lee, if you can explain what makes her so special, why is she so dominant, if you can go into that.
She's just, she at the elite level, she was a kid that always hung around in that top group and, always showed this amazing variety of skill, and she just has a huge vocabulary of skills that she can do. And when the opportunity arose at the Olympic Games, in Simone's absence, she really seized on it and showed what kind of competitor she is. I mean, she's a great individual. A lot of the girls on our team know her very well and have been friends with her for a long time. And I think coming into college, she, has just started to make that adjustment. And you can even look at her performance the last couple of weeks and see that she's gotten better week over week as she's gone. And so, I mean, it provides them with a spark. I mean, they've got some of their big contributors from last year are back that are those fifth year seniors, similar to what we have. And I believe Drew Watson and Darian Goborn are big contributors for them. So I think Sundy has just provided a spark and has sort of created a different level of energy around that program right now, and everybody seems to be stepping up their game.
Could you speak to how rare that is to have a?
Oh, it's the first time ever. I mean, she's the first Olympic all-around champion to enter the collegiate ranks. And we've had Olympic medalists in the past and those kinds of things, but this is the first time there's been an Olympic all-around champion that I know of in the NCAA ranks. So it's exciting for all of us. It's exciting for the sport, I think, because it just shows the popularity of the sport has gotten to a place where even the ones who can go on and make money. If NIL had not come in, it would have been interesting to see if some of these Olympians who can go and make money would have chosen to do that. But now that they can do both, they can go to college and they can compete for at the NCAA level, and they can make money. I think you're going to see more and more of the top elites choose to do that.
And I know it's TV related, but the Saturday meet, it's kind of rare around here. Just how do you approach that? And does it?
Yeah, it changes our timeline a little bit. In some ways, it's good because we get an extra day that we could tinker with. In general, I like to get 3 days of work in between. As I think I explained that to y'all a little bit last week. When we come out of a meet, we come out of a rest, and then the first day back in is working on trouble spots, and then we have a real heavy work day, and then we get into the competitive mindset, do an inter-squad meet, and then compete. This week we gave them Saturday and Sunday. We're going to come in today. We're going to meet, condition, do some video stuff, but we're going to get an extra floor day in, which is going to help us, because if you noticed, a lot of our mistakes in this past meet were in the landings on the two leg events. So it's going to allow us to spread out some of the impact on their legs this week, and be able to get a little more numbers in and hopefully dial some of those landings in a little bit better. But yeah, it was TV related. TV dictated the start time, and so the early start time means instead of having a team lunch that day, we're going to have a team breakfast. So it's just going to change things a little bit.
Just the way that you're using the girls, you talked about maybe getting them involved, and obviously Hailey got some work. And just kind of, could you speak to your approach this week?
Yeah, this week, if all goes well, and it's day to day. Our goal with Kaya all along. I could have competed her on floor in the first meet, but we're trying to be strategic about and rest and preserve her as long as we can. I don't know that there's a perfect formula to that, but we were able to navigate it last year with pretty good success. And so this week, the plan is if the week goes well and she's tolerating things, is to have her in the all-around for the first time this year. With Hailey, I think tentatively we would like to see her in the all-around, at least on vault, bars, and floor. Beam, I think we can absorb not having her in there if necessary. But I think if her foot tolerates it, there's a chance she does the all-around too. So, you'd like to be able to do that, and we'll just have to see. But look, even if we can't, I mean, we've got some new faces that got to go. Olivia Dunn got in on floor and did a really good job. And when I looked back at it, I was like, it could have scored a little better than it did. And that's the first floor routine she's done in her collegiate in her time. And Aaliyah Finnegan is right there, and we were in warm-ups trying to decide, do we go Olivia Dunn or we go Aaliyah Finnegan, and we made a good call, I think. And so Aaliyah will probably get in there too. And so we're getting to a place now where we're seeing the depth grow to a point where if something happens, or we need to pull back on Kaya, or we need to let Hailey get some rest, or that we've got options that we should be able to use and not miss too much.
Yeah, going back to Aaliyah, how do you think she handled her debut, especially considering that it was on the road?
Yeah, I thought it was great, man. I thought it was great to see her get out there for the first time. And really, Christina Desiderio set her up really well. Because, anytime a freshman's doing their first thing, it's nice to have somebody go ahead of them and kind of settle in, particularly on that event. And Christina does an amazing job of setting the table for us on that event. But Aaliyah's got a different look on balance beam. She's one of the prettier balance beam workers in the country. Just, it's very light. It looks effortless. She works the balance beam on toe, which is Greek to most of our fans. They don't understand what I mean by that, but that's a little bit of a lost art when it comes to that particular event, and it's something that gymnastics purists really like, and she's had that training instilled in her from her club days. And it is reminiscent. Look, people draw the comparison all the time, and we've made a conscious effort not to, but when you look at her and you look at her sister, if you were from a distance watching their gymnastics, you go, it almost looks like the same person's doing it, because there's a style that's very reminiscent of Sarah.
You talk about the depth. Just how much of an advantage will that be for you on Saturday as opposed to?
Well, here's the thing. It's different than other sports. We're not going to be running subs in and out and being able to keep fresh bodies and wear somebody down the way you can in other sports. But it gives us options more than anything, so that if something happens during the week in preparation, that we've got good options. That's where you win championships in our sport. Most of the teams we go against, their back three are going to be near what our back three are. The question is, what do our front three look like? What does 1, 2, and 3 in every event look like? And that's a lot of times that's the difference in a championship, because as we get, particularly in this conference, and then as you get into the postseason, everybody's got a couple of really talented, very, very good athletes on their team. Can they go 1 through 6? And ideally, you want to be able to go 1 through 6 on every event with potential 9-9s. And we have the ability to do that. Are we there yet? No. I don't think that, we see it. We see flashes of it in training. But there are some kids have more reps under their belt in terms of training all fall than others right now. And the others are catching up. We put Olivia out there and did floor, and she literally had done 5 floor routines in practice, total. And so it was a little bit of a roll of the dice. But I think we saw that she's also a competitor, and she was able to rise to the occasion. So whereas, some of the others in our lineup, like Alona's probably got 250 routines under her belt on floor right now. Olivia had 5, and we got them all in between. So we're starting to see some of that gel together, and I think that's going to be the key for us as we go through this process. We get later in the year, start paying attention to what do 1, 2, and 3 look like. If you start seeing 9-9s coming out of those, then that's a pretty good indicator that we're moving towards where we need to be for the postseason. I don't know if that answered your question, but it was a.
You feel like this is an opportunity meet for you guys, and you got to capitalize on it with the juice, with the SUNY, the time?
Every meet's that way. Our sport is so different, and it's hard because I want to win everything. Like, I want to win every meet. I want to win every championship. We do, but at the same time, you've got to. Our scoring dictates our seeding at nationals. It's not about wins and losses and those kinds of things. And for some reason, it's really about pace and about being where you want to be when you get to late March and April. Do we have the fresh legs? Are we as healthy as we can be? And have we dialed in on the little wrinkles and the little details that we're ironing out? Yeah, we want to take advantage of that, and we will. We're going to be in front of our fans, and we want to go in there. We want to win this thing. But at the end of the day, it's about taking the next step forward for this team, because I've seen teams in the past that ran the table all year long and lost at the end. Been part of those. I've been part of teams that didn't do so well in the regular season and won a national title. I've seen teams win 2 regular season meets all year long and then win the national championship. So it's counterintuitive for fans and people to think in those terms that are sports fans, but it's a simple fact of the way our sport is, that it really comes down to March and April.
How is Hailey's foot doing? Do you have any update on that?
Yeah, she tolerated the last week well. It was a little sore coming out of the meet, just a little bit, but nothing that we're concerned about. We're reintroducing floor today, and we'll see how that goes. That's why I'm cautiously optimistic that she'll add a third event at least this week, but that's just going to be based on the feedback we get from her. It's about what her pain tolerance level is, and whether or not she's comfortable. Hailey really does well if she gets reassurance from docs and medical staff that she wants to know what's the risk. She really responds to that. And if they reassure her that there's really not much risk here, she'll run through a brick wall. But if she feels like there's any doubt that, am I going to re-injure this thing? Is it going to be bad? How's that going to go? Then we have a hard time with it. So it's really just between her and the physicians and our training staff right now as to what they'll allow her to do and how much reassurance she gets.
So maybe educate me here. Are you getting RQS scores now?
No, okay. It's so we won't start that until, Brandon, you may know the week. I don't. It's late in the season. Yeah, so the way our formula works, and this is something that is something that I've tried to get changed for a lot of years. We go straight average to a point, and then late in the year we switch to what is now called our NQS, which is a national qualifying score, and it's you take the top 6 scores, 3 of which must be away, and you drop the high. It can all be away, but minimum of 3 have to be away scores, and you drop the high and you average those. That's hard for fans to understand. I'm a fan of keeping things simple for the layperson. That's why we still have a 10-0 scoring system in the Olympic Games. They don't. Fans know what home runs are. They know what touchdowns are. They know what a perfect 10 is. You start scoring 13.3, and they don't know what that is. So it's a similar thing that I'm a fan for going straight average. I don't know how I'd feel about it in a pandemic, because there's so many things that are volatile that cause people to have to cancel meets and those things. But keeping it simple is something I've always wanted to do. But yeah, we go to an NQS late in the season, and it changes. You'll notice we'll be clicking along, and teams might have had a loss, and then all of a sudden the next week they've jumped up 3 spots in the rankings, and that's, again, counterintuitive to what fans normally think. Is that it? Thank you.